Michigan poll workers are still trying to get state officials to hear their concerns more than a year after the election. One America's Christina Bobb has more from Detroit.
Jennifer Seidel, you were a Republican poll challenger here in Detroit at the TCF Center on Election Day in 2020. You witnessed some interesting peculiarities, we'll call it, regarding unregistered voters that were casting ballots. What did you see?
Well, on the second day, after everything seemed to be done, there were ballots that just were coming out of wherever that were being put into ballot boxes or the U.S. mail boxes. And none of those voters were on the voter roll. And there were trays and trays of ballots.
Thousands of
ballots.
Thousands
of ballots in trays, and they were being distributed to the tables. And I asked one of the managers, I said, what are all these? And he said, well, those are voters, those are ballots where the voter isn't in the voter roll. And I said, well, when was the voter roll last updated? And he said, Monday night at midnight. So we're talking Monday before Election Day at midnight.
They were instructed to make the ballots fit, like find a place on the voter roll for them?
Just make them fit, as in scan them. And everyone that was scanned had a birthday of 1/1/1900. And I'm assuming that that's because they didn't know the birthday of the person when they voted. I'm not sure, but regardless, every single ballot that came through, every single envelope, it all had the birth date of 1/1/1900.
Could you see how those ballots were cast, like what the vote was?
No.
Okay.
It was just the the voter envelope.
So all of these ballots that come through that have no registered voter attached to them, no birthday, so ostensibly you don't even know who the person is that's casting it.
Mm-mm.
And then you also couldn't see how it was cast?
No.
So if they had all been Joe Biden ballots, or they had all been Trump ballots, which of course would have raised some concerns, no one was able to check that?
No.
So what did they do with these ballots? They just counted them?
I assume that the ballots had already been counted and they were just trying to make the voter fit.
Wow. And you also saw some oddities with the military ballots. What did you see?
Well, the military ballots were being counted about the time that, or being brought out about the time that there was the uprising of, so to speak, of, people getting frustrated that they weren't letting any Republicans in to sign in as challengers or to come back in when they had signed in the morning. So there were probably, I'd say maybe a dozen Republicans left in the room because the others had been, gone out for lunch and left without telling, there was no mention of you have to sign out if you're going to leave.
So if you had a dozen Republicans in the room, approximately how many Democrats did you have?
Oh, well, there should have been 134 for each table, poll challengers. And at that point, if, per COVID-19 regulations, they should have stopped at that point. But we also had other special interest groups that were there that were allowed in. There was a lawyer, a legal type group that was there. There was also ACLU, NAACP, the union had representatives there and whatnot.
Very heavily Democrat.
Oh, well, yes.
So when you count all of that, that's hundreds of people.
Yes.
To a dozen Republicans.
Yes.
And what was that atmosphere like?
It was very, very intimidating and very stressful because there had been, Republicans had been arrested in the room for, raising questions.
How many Democrats were escorted out?
None that I saw.
So you didn't see any negative action taken towards Democrats?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jennifer Seidel, thank you so much for your time and for your information.
Thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Visit OANN.com for immediate access to all the clips you've been waiting to see.